Hi, I'm Gwendolyn Sterk, and I am privileged to be here today with Margo McDermed. Thanks for coming out.
Always my pleasure, Gwen.
She is our representative here for our location at our office in the 37th District. But I got to tell you, Margo, we talked a little while ago, maybe a year ago, about that I-80 corridor. And then guess what? I watched the news, and I saw some holes or damage or whatever we want to talk about, a bridge. What's going on?
Well, it's not getting any better, Gwen. My priority this year is to see what we can do about having a capital bill here in the state of Illinois. That's my number one legislative priority this year. We haven't had a capital bill in Illinois for 10 years.
Wow.
And our infrastructure, including I-80 and the Des Plaines River Bridge, show that.
Absolutely. So what does it mean to get a capital bill? Tell us about that.
That means that we're going to try to figure out some long-term sustainable revenue options to fund repair and maintenance of our infrastructure. And we're in such a dire situation here that we're not even talking about building any new structures, which perhaps we do, new roads or new bridges somewhere. We're talking about repairing and maintaining the ones that we have.
Fixing what we already have.
Exactly.
But it is frightening, isn't it? I mean, you heard all the news stories about people are worried. You know, you hear everybody saying, I'm not going on that bridge again.
Well, the reason I started interesting myself in transportation is because people in the 37th District told me that was one of their top priorities, was to try to do something about I-80 because it's dangerous for our families, whether we're talking about the pavement or the bridge.
Just overall, the whole situation is there and needs to be have something done. Now, what is the next step when you say other levels or other sources of revenue? What could that include?
Well, I think we're going to look at gasoline tax. We haven't changed our gasoline tax, and you know I'm not a tax person.
No, you're not.
But I think we haven't changed our gasoline tax since 1990 here in the state of Illinois, and we've had inflation since then. It costs twice as much to build a mile of pavement or to build a section of bridge than it did then. And we have cars that go further on a mile of gasoline, both of which have contributed to falling motor fuel tax revenues, which is what fuels maintenance and repair of our highways. So we actually have less money to do this work than we had at the beginning of this century or in 1990, and that's unacceptable.
Well, now look at the increased traffic too here in this whole area in your
district. Well,
district.
that's right. When I-80 was built, it was built as a rural interstate.
Good Lord, it's
We're
not
no rural
now.
interstate anymore.
No.
So that would be one thing that we're looking at. Perhaps there'd be some tolling options,
whether
on I-80 or and you know, when we're looking at these options, we're looking for the whole state. This capital approach is not just for us, although that's our number one concern, right? And so we would be looking at registration fees. And don't forget, electric vehicles don't pay motor fuel tax.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
They're using our roads. You know, where they need to pay their fair share. So we need to look at that. We need to look at trucks. You know, every aspect of this is going to be examined. And hopefully some sort of proposal and bill going forward will come out of the legislature before May 31st of 2019. That's my goal.
That is a great goal. Now, but in addition to that, in addition to the state paying, what about the federal government putting in some dollars here?
Well, I don't control the federal government.
Sure, I get that.
What I'm hearing, and we had hearings about this in Springfield this week, was that the federal government is looking, and I'm talking about Congress in particular now, at having some kind of a transportation bill this year as well, because they haven't done transportation funding in a long time either.
Right, and this infrastructure, I mean, you know, there's various things, and we can all argue about what government should or shouldn't do, but isn't it something we can agree on? The roads are really the essence of government, giving us transportation, a key element. It's one of the mainstays.
Exactly. Transportation is one of the functions of government. And we are taking a bipartisan approach to this in Springfield.
Because it's gotten to the level where it's a crisis now.
It is.
And it needs to be done. And so do you foresee possibly this bill by the end of the year? How long before we get this bridge fixed?
Well, they're going to do some repairs this spring. There was a letting either this week or next week to do some maintenance on the bridge. And if they do the letting in March, they expect to be out on the bridge by June. But repairs are not the same as a bridge that is nearing the end of its useful life.
And you hear about those ratings, you know, like, and I know there's different controversy over what ratings are there.
Well,
and
we do need to put it in context. The ratings, when they talk about the sufficiency of the bridge, it's not only the repair of the condition of the steel, it's also the ability of the bridge to carry the traffic that it now carries.
Right.
It's too narrow. It's, there's no, what do you call those? There's no passing lanes. There's no place to break down.
Right.
All those things go into the fact that it's insufficient
To cover it, right?
If a new bridge were built now, it would have shoulders. It would have some other features that when that bridge was built in the 60s were not included. So therefore it's insufficient. That doesn't mean that it's that broken down. It just means that it's not fit for its current purpose.
Right, and with the truck traffic and everything that's going through here and the logistics, it's just not feasible.
It should be about 4 out of 10 vehicles should be a truck. That's the ideal way that you want to see traffic. And we have up to 8 out of 10 vehicles a truck on I-80. That's not acceptable. And therefore the bridge and the road are insufficient. Now, I'm not saying the bridge doesn't need a lot of maintenance and it's not in bad repair.
Right.
But it's also insufficient for a lot of other reasons.
Just as a general thing with the road.
Right.
Well, I know that we all use I-80. Anybody in this district who lives around here, that's our mode of transportation to get around. So I appreciate your efforts here to...
I have so many people telling me they don't want to use it anymore, or in fact, they don't use it anymore. We can't have that situation.
We can't have it. And if you go on the side roads here, whether it's north of 80 or south of 80, you're seeing the traffic build up on those roads as well.
Every time 80 closes down, which unfortunately it does very often, you see all those trucks on our other roads.
Yeah, that's right. And so we're seeing that on a daily basis, which is it getting to the point where it's critical. So I'm so glad that you're taking action on it. I know that our own clientele, struggle with this every day, and we're looking forward to the day. Although, you know what? It's going to be rough to get through that construction.
Well, they're not going to close the bridge. They're going to build a whole new bridge. When they redo I-80, there will be a whole new bridge. So the bridge will never be...
it won't be shut down, so to speak.
Right.
But it's still going to be slow. We complain as Americans about everything. So we also have to keep that in mind as going forward, is that at some point in time, we have to take action, and we appreciate what you're doing, and we all as citizens have to be patient through that repairs as well and the change.
That's right. And I'm going to move heaven and earth to try to make sure this happens.
Well, you do it.
Right
you
now.
go, girl. That's what I got to say to you.
Thanks, Gwen.
for coming out.